Hey folks, it's Mangrel. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a upgrade to our mining rig over here. You can see that the video cards are multiplying like rabbits. But what we want to do is we want to get rid of the two power supply that we have in place right now. We have one over here, one over here. And if we look at the plug, we can see that it's plugged into two outlets. And I'm using my surge projector here from Tripp Lite. I'll give you a link in the video description. So what I want to do is I want to install this power supply. So the most I've ever spent on the power supply is right here. And this is the power supply I wanted to buy initially, but it was out of stock everywhere. And recently it came in stock at my local computer store. Managed to get it for a really good price. If you check eBay, these go for $700 to $1,000 US because they're so hard to get a hold of. But I got it for a fraction of that cost, straight from retail. So let's go ahead and unbox, install, and see how it is. All right, let's start with the unboxing. And Corsair will tell you this is their most advanced power supply. It's very compact. It uses gallium nitride components, all these things. But honestly, I care about really three things here. First one, 1600 watts of continuous power. And Corsair says it can do 1600 watts using a normal residential 15 amp 120 volt circuit, so that's pretty good. Amazing efficiency, so it is 80 plus titanium rated, which means 95% plus efficiency. And also it's got 10 PCIe slots, so it's one of the only power supplies I could find that has 10. So you'll use one for the CPU, that means you have 9 for your GPUs. Let's take a look at what connectors it comes with. Of course, it's got its ATX cable, it's got 2 CPU cables, it's got 6 PCIe cables that are single connectors, so single 6+2. It's got 2 which are dual connectors, so it's got 2 6+2 connectors on the one side. And that's one of the negatives of this power supply, even though it technically has 9 PCIe slots, because it's got 10, one goes for CPU, you only get 8. Would have been awesome if they gave you 9. But I guess technically they're saying, well, no, 2, 6, 2, that's 10. So they're kind of justifying it that way. But I very rarely use 2 CPU connectors anyway. Then you have 2 SATA, different sizes, 3 SATA, different sizes. So you get 5 SATA, different size, 3 Molex, 2 floppy. Okay, let's get going on the opening. Ooh, look at that. It's very nice packaging. Okay, so first thing we see here are these interchangeable side covers. They're magnetic. Oh, just slide out. So they're magnetic, so you can actually personalize the color of your power supply to your case. To give you a bunch of Velcro straps. Okay, we'll look at this in a second. Your typical screws, zip ties, those kind of things. Oh, this is cool. So you have a really beefy cable. And check that. This is not your typical computer plug. Like, look at this thing. So they know you're putting 1600 watts through this. So very beefy cable, beefy connector. So it says Volex 15 amp. 125 volt. Nice. And then here is the power supply itself. And this looks no different or no bigger than my 1200. Yeah, it's decent weight. But let's take a look at this now. All right, so here's the power supply. And let me show you what we can do with the personalization on the side. So the intent is you can take these guys and then they just, using magnetism, they stick to the side. So you can personalize your power supply, different colors. Here we can see it has that special connector I mentioned, so way beefier than your typical computer connector. And look at all these connectors. It's upside down. Look at all these connectors. So you see the 10 I mentioned. And then the other cool thing is it has this Corsair link. So I'm looking forward to using that on the mining rig. So I can monitor voltages and I can monitor efficiency, current, all those things. So that's really good. But honestly, this is no bigger than a regular 1000 watt or 1200. It's got decent weight, but again, pretty small for 1600 watts. Let's set this aside. Let's look at the cables. And they give you this little cable, I don't know what it's called, but it's different than your typical Corsair cable pouch. You see it actually folds open like this. So that's really neat. Fold over like that, get rid of this thing. And there shouldn't be any surprises. We know what cables we're getting, but I want to show you the PCIe ones. So here are the PCIe ones. And this is what I was talking about. You see that you have, I think it was six that are just one connector, and it uses these that have capacitors inside of them. They're high quality cables. So you have 6 of these, and then there should be 2, and I think probably these ones here, yeah. So you have 2 which are more of your typical dual connector. So let me open this up, I'll show you. So I like the fact that you have the options. So you see it has the one side goes to the computer, I guess to the power supply, and then you have the 2 over here. And I think lengthwise this is probably way longer than this one. Let's see. So I think decent layout of cables. Actually, it's exactly the same. All right, so let me go ahead and get it all installed in the mining rig, and then we'll take a quick look and see how it's performing and what's going on. And the install is done. Took about an hour to 2 hours because of all this beautiful cable management. And I'm really liking the fact that they give you 2 different types of connectors. So the 3080s, I use the single connectors. Things like the 3060, I use the pigtail, so the 2 connectors there. So it came out really nice. You can see now the whole rig is running off of just the one outlet. So it does free up the one outlet. The one problem, it looks like the Corsair Link software doesn't work with TeamViewer. And I use TeamViewer to remotely monitor this rig here. So all you get is a blank screen when you open it up. But you can use hardware info to monitor those sensors. So that's what I've done over here. And you can see that we're getting roughly 94% efficiency. It goes up and down. It's hit as high as 99, as low as 80 some odd. And it's pulling roughly 1200 watts. I still have 1 connector left. So you can see here I've got 1 GPU connector left. And that's going to be for my mini Dogecoin miner that's coming. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment.